and welcome to the True North Show. I am your host, Megan North, and I'd like to thank the sponsors of this show, Quantum Awakening, Beth Lewis, Anne C. Clark, and my lovely guest who paid to be featured on this episode. Today, I am joined by an incredibly kind yet powerful woman who I've known through my business networking group. Anne McKeown is a transformative leader in self-empowerment, but we could say self-improvement as well. Self-empowerment, known for her practical, encouraging approach. With over 25 years in corporate leadership, philanthropy, I still can't get that word right. Philanthropy, yes, and life coaching. See, this is real, right? She inspires others to step up, speak up, and show up to reclaim confidence and purpose. After experiencing burnout herself, Anne rebuilt her mindset and values, turning her journey into a mission to help others live authentically without guilt or compromise. Her signature process for success draws on NLP, timeline therapy, hypnosis, emotional wellness, and personalized mindset tools. Anne's coaching is never one size fits all. She listens deeply, tailors strategies, and empowers people to meet their unique goals. A celebrated author and professional speaker, Anne's book, Confident Communication, The Ultimate Collection, compiles her best-selling guides to conquer fear, build lasting confidence, and communicate effectively at work, on stage, or in daily life. Her writing and live sessions are known for their encouragement and transformative impact. Anne is also a multi-award-winning coach and founder of To Empower. Let's hope we get into that because it's very interesting as to what To Empower is. She's recognised for advancing women's leadership, personal development, and social contribution through her impactful work with individuals and organisations. So, talking about public speaking and on a TV show, welcome to the show, Anne.
Hi, thank you, Megan. It's lovely to be here. Appreciate it.
I'm really pleased that you're joining me today. And this is our second time because we had some interference when we've done this before. So, and it's really interesting as I was reading through your bio and, you know, obviously I got caught up on a couple of things, but it's just those things of just being authentic, isn't it? Not making it perfect, not trying to force it.
Yes, and everybody makes mistakes, and I think if we try and put on a mask and be perfect, then we make others feel that they can never achieve what someone else achieves, what we achieve. But if we're our true selves, like you talk about your true north, then others can tap into their true self, their true north, and achieve what they desire without feeling that they can't. It's giving them confidence.
Yeah, exactly. And I also think too, because I've had some professional training with speaking, is that it is those little moments also where you just relate, you become more relatable to people as well, because you're not just stiff and perfect on stage. And people, sometimes I know personally when I see people on stage and there's a bit of stiffness, and I can't relate to them. Whereas if there is some softness and some flow and a little bit of banter, I actually really connect quickly with people.
Yeah, a bit more natural. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to get into a few things today. I'd love to just start with, where did your career start? Like, how did the coaching start? And more importantly, how have the books come about?
Oh, it's a long story. I'll cut it very short. My career actually started working with BP Oil in the UK. Obviously, I'm from Scotland. I worked in Glasgow and then in Aberdeen, up there where the North Sea is. And I was actually an area manager for petrol stations. And part of that was training licensees who ran the petrol stations and helping keep them motivated around the sales. And what I discovered in doing that was that it was the same people that were successful all the time. It didn't matter what the product or what the season or what the price. And so I got really interested in what was it that was different between the other people. Oh, we're never going to sell that. Oh, it's not going to work. all too hard and who never did well. And so because they didn't do well, it became a self-fulfilling prophecy, and then their attitude became more negative and they did worse, and then they enjoyed the job less. And it all came down to, well, a couple of things. The first one was mindset. Like those that believed that they could sell would do really well. Their attitude played such a big part in that. Their self-talk, so the fact that they had that belief, and I'm going to be at the top of that leader table, or I can make this petrol station really profitable, or whatever their self-talk was, they would challenge themselves. Having a routine and whatever. So I've always been very interested in that. We left the UK to come and live in Australia, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do here. I actually studied positive psychology for a number of years. I just find that subject, human nature, why we do the things we do, what drives us, what stuck, very interesting. And when my kids had gone to high school and didn't need me so much anymore, my husband was working. I thought, well, what am I going to do now? I kind of hit menopause, midlife. I didn't really want to go back into corporate because that was very stressful. I wanted to be able to be around for my kids. And so I actually went to see a life coach, and I just said to her, I don't know what to do with myself. And she went through what's your experience, and she said, there must be other women out there that feel the same as you, that are looking in midlife for a new purpose. And she said, why don't you reach out and see if you can help them? She said, you've got all this experience. And I thought, well, who's going to come to me or listen to me? I'm not a professional of any sort. But a friend had told me about meetup.com. She said, well, you can start your own meetup and anyone can come. And so I started the Sydney Women's Self-Empowerment Group, because I'm all about, we have to do it ourselves. Like, other people can give us advice, and there's plenty of that around. But really, for change to take place, we have to take personal action. And I was really blessed in that as soon as I put that meetup out there, but 60 women turned up to the first meeting that I had.
That's fun.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And that spoke volumes, because then I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not the only one that feels like this. There's a lot of women who are at that stage in life, and their kids have moved on, and they've maybe given up work to be a stay-at-home mum, and they're a bit lost and looking for a change, and their mindset's stuck. And so I used to meet every month, and I would share NLP techniques, the positive psychology, the things I'd learned when I worked with BP. And it was interesting because, one, I thought everybody knew all those things, and when they didn't, I thought, oh, this is great. I wanted to help and share and teach. But it also made me realize that I wasn't doing it myself. Like, I knew all the stuff, but I'd allowed myself to get in a rut. And so it helped me to kind of shift myself as well. And then those women started to say, I don't want to talk in a group and share my issues in a group anymore. Can you help me one-on-one? So they would just come to the house, sit on the sofa. I'd get out a big sheet of paper. We'd work out, what are your issues? What's keeping you stuck? Where do you want to be? How are we going to get there? And we'd put a plan together. And then I just acted as their coach, walking alongside them and helping them achieve their goals. And then as that grew, I learned how to do online marketing, so I could do online programs and reach a bigger audience. I started to do lots of networking, which is how I met you. And through networking events, I was invited into some corporations and to talk to leadership teams. And the speaking, as you said in your intro, that a big part for me was helping others to step up, which is saying, okay, I'm going to do this, to speak up, which the public speaking and communication and even the self-talk, how all of that comes into it, and the show up with confidence is to actually not hide under the duvet and say this is all too hard. And then a friend of mine who was running workshops on storytelling had asked me to help her with these workshops. And she said, I've got some people who've got a great story to tell, but they haven't got the confidence to share it. But I've got others who are full of confidence and they don't know how to hone their story in and really get to the crux of it and to give a few tips that can help the listener. And so I said to my friend, well, I'll help you with that. And she said, have you got any material that you could give people to take away? And I said, I'm sure I've got stuff. And I went through my files and I showed her everything that I had. And she said, oh my God, that could be a book. She said, there's so much in there. And so we used a bit of it for the workshop. But then afterwards, I thought, she's right. I could actually make this into a book. And I like to keep learning. I think if you're going to be a coach for others, then you have to keep growing yourself to be a role model. And so publishing and writing and publishing the books, which has taken me a number of years, I have to say, didn't happen overnight. Is where I'm at now, and the public speaking, it's just added a new arm to my coaching, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. Told you it was a long story.
It's so fascinating, though. I didn't know about the BP piece. So can I just take you back to that? Because I'm really curious to understand from what you learned with the people that at BP, that some were really good at selling and some weren't. Do you think that there's a part of those people who are really good because they really believed in the product that they were selling, that they really believed in the work that they were doing and how they were changing people's lives? Like, was there some type of self-belief there or passion behind that?
Yeah, I don't think it's because they believed in the product. I think it's because they were driven. They were driven, and there was a book back in the 1970s, and it was written about what it is that drives us. And there were 3 A's, and it's either achievement. So you're the kind of person that you just like to tick off the boxes, you've achieved things. For some, it's authority. So you want to have the CEO above the door or whatever. And for others, the 3rd A is, it escapes me right now, but it's about being connected. It's about being part of a community. It's about belonging and growing all together. And so when you start, if you can figure out what drives a person, Simon Sinek said, find out why you're doing it, not just what you're doing. That's the same idea, really. Then it was that. And so for the people I worked with, they were either driven because they wanted to be the achiever, the top of the leaderboard, or they wanted to help. And it gave them a sense of, a strong sense of self, that this is my role. This is the role I play in the community or in the company. For others, it was money. It was just downright, they wanted, if there was an award of some sort, they wanted that award. So that I really learned that if you can tap into what drives people, what inspires them, because you need that when the going gets tough. If there needs to be something that you can dig deeper and say, don't give up, this is hard.
Yes.
But the bigger picture is, I remember working with one woman, and it was all about money. And I said to her, well, what are you going to do when you get that money? Because money in itself is not actually the goal. It's what you do with the money. And she wanted to take her kids to Disney. And so her images in her mind were all about, the kids on the rides and having fun and waving to Mickey Mouse, and the thought of the pleasure that they would get from that. Yes. Good she'd feel about treating them to do that was what drove her to keep going when things got tough.
And I love that you connected that, because as a healer, I do some work with clients in relation, and I've done this myself in the sense of have an idea in your mind of how much money you would like to make, and then close your eyes and visualize it. And when I've done that, I've actually had a negative reaction to it, because I'm physically seeing the pile of money.
Yeah.
And so I've had this whereas then if I've closed my eyes and thought about what I could do and how many people I could help and what it means, the reaction is completely different.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Everybody says, I want to see all the zeros in my bank account and those sort of things. It's like, yeah, but actually what does that symbolize, and how does it make you feel
That's
when
right.
you visualize it? It's
That's
really
right.
interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know about those 3 A's, so I'll have to look that up and see if I can.
Yes, when I remember what the third one is, I'll tell you. It's just as we're chatting off the top of our heads, none of this is prepared.
Yes,
Otherwise, I would
exactly,
have looked it up.
yeah. And so, with the books, do you think now that your journey and your passion and purpose has shifted a little bit because you've gone, like, you're still doing all the coaching, but is the books and the change that it is having and the effect it is having on others, has that become a new passion and purpose?
Yeah, I actually really enjoy the writing. And it's funny, I didn't actually think I would, but I think because I've studied for so long and it's almost like this time it's tying the writing with researching. But it's based on my findings through what I've done naturally with clients, through using NLP, which you mentioned earlier, because the neuro part of NLP is our thinking, the linguistics part is our language, and the programming is our behavior that comes as a result of our thinking and our language. And so it's actually just taking what I was already doing in a deeper sense, just the language part. Well, it's not really, because when you get into public speaking, it's about presentation and confidence and all that as well.
Yeah.
But for me, writing about it, it took me down that path. Because after the public speaking one, I had people say in these programs, you know, I'm never going to get up on the stage and talk, but I'd love to have confidence at a networking meeting, or every time I go on a first date, I just get tongue-tied and I just don't know what to say. Or, you know, in a work environment, I'm so confident, but then in romantic relationships or friendships, I'm not, or vice versa. And so the second book, How to Talk to Anyone, came as a result of that. And then the company or the program I'm following to learn about publishing, they said a great thing that you can do for your customers is put them together in a bundle. So you put 2 books for the price of 1, basically. And that's what I'm in the process of doing at the moment. It's actually on Audible, but it's not live paperback in Amazon yet.
Yeah. But it will be in the new year.
Yes, and it is on Kindle.
Yeah.
So I'm just going through the process of getting it in the paperback and hardback form at the moment.
And so what was it like when you, I guess, was it an easy process to turn all your notes and all of the things that you had into a book?
No. You would think so, wouldn't you? But it was kind of like having a jigsaw puzzle turned upside down with all the bits scattered everywhere. And it was like, what bit fits where? I had to try and figure out what was the flow. What I found through my coaching is a lot of people will say to me, but what did you do? What did you do to turn your life around? What did you do to get on this path? And I just sit and think, I don't really know. What did I do? Because often it's a process that takes a lot over, months or years. And so it was the same with the public speaking. I thought, what did I do to have that confidence to start and to share a story, to write a story, to project a story? And so I took it right back to the beginnings of, why are we even telling a story? Like who are you sharing it with, and why should they listen? And then things around, if you want to be of service to others, then it's not about having the spotlight on yourself. It's about putting the spotlight on the audience and saying, what will they take away from this? And so I did the same with the book. It was like really back to basics. And I spoke to people who really have a fear of, they almost feel naked if they have to stand up and talk in front of an audience. And really, what was that fear? Where was it coming from? Looking at maybe childhood experiences or times in the past when they've been told to sit down and shut up, you know. And then as we're adults, we're told to be all confident. And it's like, well, I never learned how to do that when I was younger. And then it was about actual processes. And the same thing applies. It's about your mindset towards it. It's about your language. Because if you keep saying, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, guess what?
Yeah.
That becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And you literally can't do it. Like the body will do what it's told, and it'll say, you told me I can't do this, so it'll make everything happen. And you'll get a dry throat and you'll get sweaty hands, and, you know, you'll be like a deer in headlights, and the end result will be that you're not able to do it.
Yeah.
And so how do we unlearn all that old negative pattern and create new confident patterns and scripts that you can then get up and talk about? So the books are divided into creating the story, writing the story, and then actually finding your voice and delivering the story. I mean, I believe everybody's, at some point, we all would scream for attention when we were kids.
Yeah.
And we thought that was okay.
Yeah.
And that voice would be heard and served.
Yeah.
And at some point, for a lot of people, that was stunted. But it's still there. But we've put a lid on it. And my job is to help you take that lid out and let it gently come back to the surface.
One of the things that when I was learning to be a professional speaker, that at first I was a bit taken back, and then it really made sense, was when you're up on stage, it's got nothing to do with you. It's about your audience.
Yeah, totally.
And when I first heard that, I was thinking, what? And then when I realized that, and I thought, wow. And also that no one knows what you're up there planning to talk about. So if you miss a slide or if you miss something, no one's going to know. It's not like the audience has got your transcript going,
that's right,
miss the page, you know. No one knows. So isn't it interesting that all of these really heavy expectations that we put on ourselves has actually got nothing to do with us? Really interesting. And so as you were going through that process of writing the books, how did you look after your mental health and well-being? Were there times where you just wanted to throw it out the window? Were there times where you were thinking, no, I can't do this anymore?
Oh yes. Look, what I find really works for me and is a timetable, a schedule, a routine of some sort.
Okay.
And in that routine, I always have time for take the dog for a walk, go and have a nice coffee, phone a friend, something that just gives me a break. Through COVID, I would say it was probably my financially most successful time in my business because I just had client after client after client on Zoom. I was at home, didn't have to travel anywhere. But I became burnt out quite quickly doing that. And it made me realize that we need that balance. One, you need the exercise, you need to get the body moving. Two, I find a lot of my good ideas come when I'm walking the dog, when I'm just not thinking. And when I'm a bit more relaxed, I become a bit more creative. And even when my kids were babies, I stuck to quite a rigid routine because it was like, okay, they now know once they've had dinner, it's then bath and bed and a story and sleep. And, you know, and if you repeat that every night, then they just got used to it. And so for me, that routine, I would have certain hours that I would write, and then I would have breaks in between where I would go and do other things, and getting out, like make sure I get out and get fresh air every single day.
And you're the type of person that needs to like have everything in your diary so that you make sure that it's scheduled there so that you keep to it?
Yeah, well, I kind of keep a weekly diary. So because life happens, and things come in a day, suddenly you've got to take a kid to the doctor or something that you hadn't planned. But what I try and do is whatever I had down for that week, I have it done by Sunday night. So I start on a Monday morning with the fresh schedule again. And that way it gives me a bit of, so if I didn't get it done on Wednesday, I'll do it on Friday where I had a gap, or
Yeah.
And sometimes something else is cancelled. You know, I don't know if you ever find this. There's some weeks where you feel so overwhelmed. I'm never going to get through all of this. And then one or two people cancel and you're like, oh, great, I can get those other jobs done now.
Yes.
But yeah, that timetabling is my best friend.
And I think that that's a really great process that you go through too, in the sense of you don't put a huge amount of pressure on yourself that it has to be done that day.
No.
Because as you said, life does get in the way. So if you've got that reasonableness, because I think that sometimes that's where, from a mental health and well-being point of view, people start something and then they don't continue because they're saying, well, I've got to, and I should, and I have to. Whereas actually, if you're, you know, giving yourself a little bit of leeway, today I'm going to do this, or this week, I think it just gives you a little bit more flexibility. And I would imagine too that there's probably times then when you think, oh, actually, I'm going to make the time to do that today because that feels really important to me.
Yes. Yes, and you touched on the language there again with the shoulds and the woulds and as soon as we do that, then it's kind of like negative self-talk. We're being hard on ourselves, and then to get the energy to do it is like instead of what I would say to people is, I choose to do this now, because if we've got a choice, then I'm choosing to do it. There's no pressure. If we feel we haven't got a choice, or someone else is making us do something, or we're doing something for someone else, really it's their goal for us. It's like pushing a brick up a hill, you know.
Yeah. And that was one of the things that I learned early in my coaching training of quite a few years ago was, you know, how when we talk about SMART goals, so is it specific, measurable, attainable, I was taught that the A is actually, is it attractive to you? And that, for me, I use all the time now, because for me personally, because if it's not attractive, if I think, oh yeah, I can do it, but if I'm not attracted to doing it, or if it doesn't fill me with joy, I'm going to really loathe getting that goal done.
No.
Whereas, if it's attractive, it's like,
you.
oh, yes, actually, I really want to do that.
Yeah. It's funny you should mention the SMART goals, because I actually don't really like SMART goals. I think they're very rigid. And like you, I have a different way of looking at them. And for me, the M, instead of things being measured, and yes, we have to measure success. If you're losing weight, you go on the scales to see if you're losing weight. But if it's only on the measurement and you think that you should be losing weight, but you're building muscle, so you're actually heavier, even though you're losing fat, well, then it doesn't tally. And for me, it's about it being meaningful. So it's a bit like you're meaningful and memorable. So it's like that woman out, you know, wanting to get the money to take the kids to Disney. That's something really meaningful for her. And so I would agree. I think if you can find your own little meanings behind your goals and your SMART goals, it's easier to achieve.
Definitely. And actually, I'm the same. Like, I guess I was just using the A as an attractive, because I don't really talk to my clients about goals. I talk to them about experiments.
Yes, I like that.
Because I had a client once that came to me and she said, I need to get up at 5:30 because I've got to do this. And she had in her head 5:30. Anyway, through the experimenting process of try 5 o'clock, try 5:30, try 6 o'clock, she actually found that her natural wake up time was 6:30. She was a lot more refreshed. She could get all these things done because we were experimenting. And with experimenting as well, what I find is that if you don't achieve it, you don't feel like you've failed. It's just, I tried that and it didn't work. What else could I try?
Yeah, totally.
It's really, interesting, isn't it? Just
I like that. Yeah.
That different mindset as well. I love that we're really diving into that mindset piece. Yeah. Okay, so I have completely lost track of time. So definitely need to just take a short break and hear from the sponsors of the show. And then we'll come back, and I'd really love to dive into a little bit more about the books and the Confident Communication, the Ultimate Collection, and just talking a little bit more about some of the specifics in the books.
Great.
Great. All right. Thank you. We'll be back soon. Welcome back. So, Anne, so you've got 2 books. So I'm going to pop up the first one there, The Public Speaking from Stage Fright to Spotlight.
Yep, and hold it up.
Yes, yes, love that. Beautiful. And then we've got the second one, which is How to Talk to Anyone from Small Talk to Big Impact. Wow. Love it. Love it. And so what is it about communication that, I don't know, lights your fire? Why are you so interested in communication?
Well, I think it's key, isn't it? It's how we connect. And I think a lot of people I see will say to me, they feel misunderstood. They feel unheard. They feel invisible. They feel they can't break through at work. And so a lot of it is how they're presenting themselves. Because no matter what we do, we're presenting ourselves all the time. Even if you go into the coffee shop and you go to buy a coffee, people are looking around and they're looking at what's she wearing, and does she smile when she's asking for coffee? Is she nice to the shop attendant, or is she in a bad mood, or is she, we don't have to say anything, and our body language gives away a huge amount about us. Yeah. And often people don't tell us what we're doing or saying that repels them or makes them distance themselves, and if you're not told, you can't improve it. And the wonderful thing about being a coach is that working with people, I can see behavior, and I can recognize, and I can say, has anyone ever said this to you? Or they'll tell me, well, people say this and say that, but they don't want to hear it, so they don't take it on board, and so then they don't make the change, and then nothing changes. And I myself am a big communicator. I love people. I love the finding out about people. I love connecting with people. And so I think it just is part of my personality. And it's interesting, when I was young, my mum suffered from terrible depression, and she found it very difficult to ask for things and connect and whatever. And she used to say to me, you go up and get this, or you go and ask that, and it used to annoy me when I was young. So I think, why can't she do it for herself? But she almost couldn't. And in some ways that probably built my confidence, because I became her talking piece. But I think of all the conversations and connections that she missed out. And I mean, it wasn't totally her fault, because she was on medication that made her like a zombie. But I know she felt very unseen and misunderstood. But if someone's difficult to talk to, then we tend not to make it. It's like, oh, it's all too hard. So how do you make yourself not difficult to talk to, so that people will welcome you into that networking group and say, oh, come and tell us about you. Or, you know, through your body language, they can see that you're an open person that's, you know, interested, not just interesting. It's about being interested in others as well, and being, you know, a good listener before you sort of share your verbal diarrhea with everybody. So yeah, I think that's where the interest has come from. And the more I've learned about it, I think, like any subject, the deeper you dig and the more you get to know, it becomes more and more intriguing, like, you know, even how the brain is wired. And
definitely.
Yeah, it's interesting actually, because my daughter's gone, she's a speech pathologist, and even that, like, she comes home and she tells me things about, you know, how the tongue works and different accents, and, you know, how we form words. And so even that side I've got very interested in lately as well.
Wow. Which is really beautiful to tie it into the work that you're doing, actually. So
yes.
Really interesting. And so the public speaking from stage fright to spotlight. So I've heard, I don't know what the statistic is, but I've heard, well, it mightn't even be a statistic in a number sense, but I've heard that more people in the world have a fear for public speaking than they do about dying.
It's true. It's 77%.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
So, wow. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. It comes from a fear of being out front, and it's a whole lot of things. It's societal. It's really societal, because it's like, I love that you talked about experimenting, because public speakers don't feel that they can experiment. They feel they have to get up and they have to know it, and it has to be right. And, you know, one of the things that I talk about is, or actually in the public speaking book, there's actually a quiz you can do, and it's, what kind of speaker are you? Because often what happens is people think they have to be the same as the other speakers. They have to be extrovert and loud and funny. But if that's not your personality and you try and be like that, it's going to come across terrible.
Yeah.
It's about finding out, what kind of speaker are you? You might be a very matter-of-fact, serious speaker, and detail and facts are great for you, and so you want to memorize those, and it's important for you to come across in that way. So you play to that strength. Others are naturally funny. They just get on the stage and they'll say an opening line and everybody laughs, and suddenly they've got the audience in the palm of their hands. So it's about finding your strengths. And that really helps with the confidence piece, because you're not trying to go out there and act and behave like somebody that you're not.
And it then becomes very forced, doesn't it? Because you're completely misconstrued, because you're looking at this, particularly if you go and see someone that you know and they're speaking and you think, oh my gosh, why are you talking like this?
Yes.
I don't know you like that.
That's right.
You're not really, you know, showing your true essence, because you think that this is what everybody wants you to be or needs you to be. Yeah, it's that confidence. And so what's some feedback that you're getting from people who, so I've got the public speaking book QR code up at the moment.
Thank you.
What sort of feedback do you get from people who have read that book?
Well, it's very interesting, because I've got about 150 reviews on Amazon.
Wow.
Which is, I know.
That's incredible.
I know. It's shocked me, to be honest. I shouldn't say that, should I? But it has, because it's just a project. I mean, I wasn't doing it to kind of, like, you know, 150 reviews, but which I'm thrilled about. To buy the book and wants to write a review, that'd be lovely. And I think there's lots of exercises in it. So there's how to deal with your anxiety. There's like a pre-talk ritual that some people do. There are, so a lot of the coaching that I do around confidence ties in with public, no matter what you're doing. One of the great techniques that some people love is that you have your speaker shoes. And so what I say is, when you're at home and you're relaxing, you would wear your slippers, and that tells you, your body's telling your mind, my slippers mean it's time to relax. If you want to go to the gym, you put on your sneakers, and that's the body's way of telling the mind it's time to get fit. If you are going out to a party, you'll put on your high heels if you're a woman. And that's the body's physical way of telling the mind that you got your dancing shoes on. And so it's about and when you slip your feet into your speaker's shoes, you take on this persona of a speaker. Wow. I am a speaker. I am a confident speaker. And you tell yourself, so there's the internal conversation. Instead of, I can't do this is terrible. You say, I can do this, and I'm actually going to enjoy it. And a lot of people, when I hear their story, I'll say to them, because people have got amazing stories to share that can really be life-changing for others. And I'll hear a story like that and I'll say, you have to share that. Oh, no, I don't know. You do, because otherwise you're being terribly selfish keeping it to yourself. And they go, oh.
Yeah.
And I say, I know others that need to hear this because you'll help them with what they're struggling with. And then they go, oh, okay. Because a big part of it is people that we think nobody wants to hear what I've got to say.
Yeah.
There's that negative set. And actually, that's often not true.
And that's how we connect with other people too, isn't it? Because when we're going through things, or if we've got a story that's happened to us, often when we share it, the feedback is, oh my gosh, thanks for sharing, because I thought I was the only one that ever experienced that.
Yes, totally.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I love that. That's, I was in my head, I was having a bit of a chuckle because you said I shouldn't really be surprised and saying I'm really surprised about the 150 reviews, but I understand where you're coming from, because a lot of the time people do buy books, and I know myself, I bought a book and oh my gosh, it's great, but I've never actually
go and write a review. Yeah.
So that's a very good point for me.
Yes. And I tell you, on the likes of Amazon and Audible, they're gold. Yeah. They're gold.
Yeah. And so then if we move to your second one, so how to talk to anyone from small talk to big impact. So as you said before, this came about because people were saying they didn't necessarily want to be a public speaker, but they wanted to be better communicators.
Yeah. So this one, and so many people would say to me, oh, I'm no good at small talk. And it's like, oh, small talk's a waste of time and it's negative. And it is so important, because it's through small talk that we make those initial conversations, those initial connections. Even just by saying, oh, do you have a cat or a dog? That's small talk. But when that person starts talking about their cat or their dog, their pet that they love, and it's a certain breed, and they take it for walks and they can't go on holiday without it, and that person's opening up to you and someone that wants to hear about their pet. And if you can connect on that level before you start talking about your business and here's my business card, and you throw it in their face, they're just going to put it in the bin when they go home. Whereas they think, oh, Megan, she's got a dog as well and she loved my dog, and we're going to have a Zoom call. We're going to show each other our dogs. And, it sounds ridiculous, but that is what's important to someone. And if you can tap into that.
Yeah.
And so in that book, I've got like icebreakers and, things that if you see a group and you want to be a part, your body language and maybe an opening thing that you say because it's, people need tools. But the tools are what give them the confidence. And 9 times out of 10, what happens is they say, I went up to the group with the confident, look, and I went to say the thing, and I didn't even have to say it because everyone was like, oh, who are you? Where did you come from? And have you been here before? And the conversation flows and, and it worked, But it's taking those first steps. I mean, even for some people, signing up to a networking event and walking in the room is a huge challenge.
Yeah. And I love that you, I think I've just had a bit of an epiphany, so thank you. I love one of the things that I find still from a corporate point of view, because I'm an ex-corporate person, is the first things that often, particularly in Sydney, people say is, what do you do and where do you live? Yeah. And in my head, I think, why do you care about that? Yeah. Like, why don't you ask me how my day has been?
Yeah.
What have I done this weekend?
Yeah.
Isn't that more exciting and interesting?
Yeah. Absolutely. And because also what you feel at that point is judged. We're pigeonholed. All right. So your job is just this, or, oh, you're up there. And immediately we think you're a better person or a lesser person, or just based on where your house is or where you, I mean, it's ridiculous, really. Whereas what we really want is good old down to earth, honest business owners or friends or connections that we meet in our daily life. And the way to find out that person's values is to ask them, you know, what else they do. Ask them who they are, not what they do.
Yeah, yeah. So given that we're in a new year, 2026, maybe we can put a challenge to the audience, and when they meet a new person or they see a friend, they can ask them something like, what has made you smile today?
Yeah.
Instead of, what do you do and where do you live?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a good challenge. Actually,
yes, I do too. Yeah, great one.
It's a great way.
The other thing is, if you ask a different question or you say something different, people go, oh, they'll remember you because you didn't just say, oh, what do you do? You know, if you go in and you say, oh, so what were you doing before you came here? Did you come from work, or did you, you know, were you with a friend? Were you dancing? Were you anything that people just then, you help them open up. And when they open up, they'll then be more interested in you, because it's, you know, that's what connection is. In any relationship's two-way, and you were interested in me. I want to find out about you now.
Yeah, yeah. And I would imagine, because I don't know the science of it, and you probably do, that when you do that, I suspect we're probably using a different part of our brain too, right? Because we're having to think about the answer as opposed to, well, what do you do? Oh, I do this. Or where do you live? I live here. Whereas if someone asks you something different and you've got to think about it, one, you probably pause and then you think, and then I would suspect you're using a different part of your brain.
Not only a different part of your brain, a different part of your body. Because instead of it just being this unconscious thing that you are actually opening your heart. Am I going to tell this person about my dog? Am I going to show emotion? Am I going to tell them that I sit for hours stroking my cat in the evening? Is that too personal? And so you'll actually feel it in a different place in your body.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that. Yes. And then there's that real heart-to-heart connection too, isn't there?
Yeah. And it's and we feel it. We know it's sort of like when you know, we say, oh, I clicked with that person. That's what it is. But you didn't click over where you live, or where, you know, what promotion you got, or so you yeah.
Wow, I love that. Wow. That's beautiful. I feel like we've just tied everything in together.
Great. Great. Well, that's why I've tied the two books together as well, because they said to me that, you know, there's bits in each, and there's different exercises in both of them. The How to Talk to Anyone, there's a lot around body language in that one. And so they are actually together on Audible at the moment. You can get the collection on Audible, but and on Kindle. But I'm just waiting to put it into print. So.
And it sounds like that there's a lot of practical tools in there too. So for people to actually do things, not just read it and then not taking any action, they're actually reading it and being prompted to take action.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's links to my website as well, and there's material on there. And if anybody does need help, I give a wee free 30-minute set up, you know, what's your event? What do you have to talk at? Or it might just be that, you know, basic communication skills, and you need some help, then you can get in touch with me that way as well.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That's very generous. I'll make sure that all of that information is in, when I'm posting this, all that information will be available to everyone. So we're actually just about out of time.
Really?
I can ask you two things.
Wow. We can talk, can't we?
It's lovely. It's really nice. So I'm going to ask you the same question that I ask all of my guests before we wrap up our conversation. So can you please share with me and the audience, what's one lesson or truth that you've learned on your journey that you wish you had known earlier?
Oh, that's a great question. Look, I think for me, it's about not copying other people's templates. Because I've been doing this for 10 years. And in the beginning, when I didn't know what I was doing and people were, oh, here's my template and you can use mine. And I would copy everything. I would do everything that they said to get my business off the ground. And it didn't work for me. And then I'd feel like a failure and this isn't any good and it worked for them. And over the years, I've learned that you can take bits from different people. And that's what, we all learn, and people will take bits from me today. But just find your unique personality paw print on things, because you will attract the people that feel drawn to you. In every industry, I'll get people saying, oh, but there's so many people doing that, and the competition but there's also millions of people to serve. And I believe there's enough to go around. And people that are attracted to, if we're talking about coaching, one coach might not like another, even with PT trainers or physiotherapists, or everybody's got their guy that they think is great.
Yeah.
And so be that authentic, playing to your strengths, doing what you love, being open, and you will find that people will come to you. And I think give yourself time, because we tend to think everything should happen quicker. I'm not making enough money. I've not got enough clients. I've not got enough leads. I've not got enough everything. And there's that scarcity mindset. But what I found was initially, yes, things are slow and hard. And then suddenly it's like an airplane taking off, where when it's starting to take off, there's such a lot of energy needed. But then once you're up and you're in the sky and you're free sailing above the clouds, then things start to come to you, and the tables turn, and you go, oh, there's another client that wants to work with me who was referred by a friend or found me on socials or reached out, or but I think we cause ourselves a lot of agony trying to follow gurus who give templates. And I would just say, get back in touch with, that's why I love your show, the True North. It's getting back in touch with your inner person that you are, your gut instinct, and your gifts. We've all been given different gifts, and even though we all learn similar things, the way that we can share them and our life experiences are different.
Yeah. And that's such a beautiful way to wrap up the conversation, because you're right. There's 8 billion people in the world.
There's plenty of work
I
to
am
go
never
around.
going to profess, and I'm sure you won't, that we think that we can help everybody.
Nope.
It's impossible.
Nope.
So, and we're all different. So we're all attracted to different things. We all resonate with different things. So I love that. That's a really beautiful, just a beautiful way to finish our conversation, because I think we have gone full circle, which I'm really grateful for. Thank you for spending this time with me again today.
You're welcome. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's been really lovely. And I'd also like to thank all of our amazing and dedicated audience, the supporters, and my sponsors. Happy New Year to everybody. It's the beginning of 2026, so I hope that everybody's year has started well, and I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of the week, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. And thank you again, Anne.
Thank you. Great to be here. God bless.